phone again. I'm still answering the phones. And I answered the phone again, and I said the name of the church again. And all I heard on the other end of the line was, I could not understand a word they were saying. I could tell it was a female, but I could not understand a word they were saying. And we had this girl in our youth group. Her name was Shanda DeLay. And Shanda was constantly wrecking her mom's car. And Shanda, she thought it was in my job description for me to have to call her mother for her to tell her she wrecked the car yet one more time. And so I thought, oh my goodness, this is Shanda. She wrecked the car again. And I said, Shanda, calm down. Call me back when you're calm. And I hung up the phone. Well, about 30, 40 minutes pass, and the phone rings again, and I heard over the phone, please don't hang up this time. And I recognized it was that woman. I thought, oh dear God, I killed her dad. He's dead because I prayed for him, and I killed him, and he wasn't a Christian. I, sentenced this guy to hell. I mean, what was I thinking? This was so stupid. And I'm sitting there panicking, and I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And she goes, so sorry for what? And I said, your dad is dead, right? And she goes, what? And I said, your dad died, right? And she goes, no, my dad didn't die. No one was more surprised to hear that than me. Nobody. And I said, he's not dead? And she goes, no. And then she goes, listen, she goes, when I hung up with you, she goes, the doctor, my mother called several hours later, and she goes, when I called you a little bit ago, she said, I called to tell you that when they opened up my father, she said, the doctor said that the only scar, this was his third bypass, she said the doctor said the only scarring that he had on his body was, none of it was on the inside, but he had just the scar on the outside of the skin. That all the internal scarring from the previous surgeries had completely disappeared. And she said the valve, he had told you that he had a valve replacement. She didn't tell me that. She said he had a valve replacement from a pig. And she said when they opened up his chest, the valve replacement had completely disappeared. It was all human. And the doctor said there was no need to do surgery on this man. He has the heart of a 30-year-old. And she goes, and I said, are you sure? And she goes, well, not only that, but you said God was going to give my dad brand new lungs to go with it. And I said, look, let's just stick with the let's not mess this up. Let's not push the envelope here. She goes, no, but you said that. You said God was going to. She goes, you didn't know this, but my dad had a half lung removed on that side years ago from lung cancer. And she said when they opened him up, she said they looked and they could see a whole new lung. She goes, matter of fact, after the surgery, they sent him back through, did an MRI, and my dad has a whole lung now too. And I said, I don't believe it. And she goes, I'm telling you, I just talked to my mom on the phone. That she goes, I said, no, you don't understand. Nobody gets healed when I pray for them. Nobody. And I said, I don't believe it. And she goes, I'm telling you, I just talked to my mom. And I said, I don't believe it. I said, I've never known anybody who's gotten healed when I've ever prayed for them. I said, it doesn't happen. I'm telling you, it's not possible. And she goes, and I said, as a matter of fact, I said, the only way I believe this is if I saw documentation. She goes, are you sure you're a pastor? And I said, yes, and I'm not a naive one. I don't believe it until I see documentation. That woman came to our church the next Sunday. And you guys remember the scroll faxes? You remember the big fax machines with the roll of paper? She brought me the scroll fax. And she handed it to me and it said everything that I just shared with you. And I looked and I just shook my head. Now the result of that is that woman, her husband, her mom, and her dad all ended up giving their lives to Christ as a result of that. And I remember walking away and I was like, Lord, why me? I had a bad attitude. I was angry. I was not happy. I was not in a good place. And I was like, I hadn't been like on a 21-day fast. I'm quite sure I'd not even done my devotionals that morning. You know what I mean? I probably swore at somebody driving to church and was angry. I mean, seriously, I was not in a good place. And I'm like, Lord, why me? And the Lord spoke to me and he said, Robby, your gift to me is your availability. My gift to you is the ability, but you have to go first. I'm just looking for people who are available for me to use. And I never forgot that. And he was like, you've got to go first. You've got to be available, and the ability will meet you there. And we're always thinking that I've got to